Hello, y'all. Welcome back to Chet Chats. This is our last February Chet Chats, so that's kind of crazy. We're already into month 3 of 2019. I hope that you guys are having a great start to your Wednesday. I am cold currently. It's about 50-something degrees here in LA. Before we get started on our segment today, I'm going to pass it on over to Dad so he gives special shout-outs and thank yous to all of y'all.
First of all, thanks everybody that's participating on Chet Chats Live. Thanks for everybody that continue to tell other people about Chet Chats Live. Also, before we get started, must do our respective due to our sponsorship, Changing Lives at Homes,jalexjules.com, hefehair.com, LA Cruiser, Premier Tag and Title, and last but not least, Synergy. Thank y'all for y'all sponsorship. And before we get started, I would like to send a special shout out to the Anderson family. My condolences are with you at this time and throughout life. It's up in my prayers. So, what's up? What's happening in your world today? What's going on?
It's cold, y'all. It is currently 50
It
degrees.
is not cold.
It's
50
cold.
degrees is not cold, woman.
It's cold out here. It's 50 degrees.
It's not cold, in my opinion. It's not cold, people. Don't let her fool you. She's getting soft, as they call it these days.
Disrespectful. So, Dad, today's topic that I have chosen.
What's on your mind today?
A broad kind of umbrella, I think, but social norms.
Okay.
So, I'll define it for you first.
Okay, because I think let me define it because you know I like to think like I'm intelligent.
Okay,
so
go ahead.
Social norms would be norms that are particular standards or ideas that are acceptable with a collective group.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, you looked it up that fast?
I did.
Okay, all right. Oh, okay, excuse me. Okay, well, I at least know the definition for today. So what's on your mind today?
So, in general, I think my starter question, per usual, is, well, one, why do we have societal norms? And then the part two of that is, do you feel as though they are beneficial to society?
Okay, societal norms. Say that one more time. Why do we have
Why
them?
do we have them? And then do you think they're beneficial?
Okay.
Specifically, like, to the growth of, like, bettering the community and longevity. Not just in the now, but, like, in the future.
Okay. Personally, I believe some social norms are beneficial.
Okay.
For the most part. And I think we have social norms so we can particularly act or be in a certain way. So I think collectively it can benefit the whole society. So that's why I think we have them in place. And then some things I think might be just innate in you as it relates to life itself and being a norm, you know.
Okay.
So I think they definitely are needed. I think we should not have them, I believe, because then what is the alternative to not having norms?
I think
because
redefining norms.
Okay. Then maybe, I mean, what is your take on it then? Because
that's a great question.
Right, what's your take? You asked me this, guy. You asked me, I gave you my opinion and thoughts on, I think we should have certain norms. And certain norms should be followed. Then certain norms could be maybe changed to better society, I think. But right now, certain norms, I think, should be in place because then we might run amok, as they call it, if no norms were in place. Then what would we follow as society as a whole then?
What is a norm that you think is, like, good? Like, what's an example?
A norm that I think is good would be loving each other.
Is that a social norm?
I don't know if it's a social norm, but as you ask me, people please chime in on this. I believe that's a norm that's needed. I think that's a norm that's needed. Okay. Some norms that may be changed or altered to a degree. And how do you feel about that? Do you have a norm that you think should continue to be a norm, or something that shouldn't be a norm? Or you keep looking
I'm looking something up.
Okay, because I'm about to say, I mean,
what the internet's like example of a social norm.
Hey Lee, thanks for chiming in. Okay, you're not on your A game today, miss.
No, I won't.
Be rapid fire, boom,
well,
boom,
so
boom.
I think that I agree with you in that social norms. Well, I don't know if I agree with you. I think that
Okay, you don't have to agree with me. That's the part of this. That's what makes
to an
this show.
extent,
You don't have to agree with me.
well, I think that social norms is a construct. I think that we have them because at some point in time, someone said this is what normal is,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what society is going to accept. Therefore, so be it.
Okay.
For instance, like a social norm would be like when you're going out in public, the idea is like not to draw attention to yourself, not to cause a scene. The social norm is everyone is. For like at the mall, you're at the mall and you're doing your own thing. The social norm, the expectancy, I think, is that you mind your own business and you go about what it is that you have to do, not stop and cause a scene. Like that's a societal norm.
Okay, so you're saying is because some things I believe.
Go ahead.
Okay. I wasn't sure you. Some things I truly believe are, to me, acceptable norms, and I think we should kind of follow them. Meaning, how a man should treat a woman, and how a woman should treat a man. This is my personal take.
Okay.
I think both genders should be respectful to each other as it relates to communicating in their relationships and so forth. I don't believe a man nor a woman should put their hands on each other in any circumstances. However, I can't speak for emotional times when things happen to each other. You know, so I don't know what may be running through their mind, but that's a norm. A man should have chivalry, in my opinion. They should open the doors for women. And I taught y'all this.
Yeah.
They should hold the doors open for you. They should get your car door. They should walk on the side of the curb. These are norms that are truly, to me, acceptable norms.
Okay.
They should be the man of the household, and meaning not dictate the house, but run the house effectively with their spouse or mate or whoever they choose to interact with on a more personal level. These are norms that I believe should be kept in place. How do you feel about that?
Well, my question, because we have this discussion a lot, we're going to go backtracking to the door opening part. I believe, I think
absolutely, you can come on the show.
Most definitely.
Most definitely.
What was I telling you?
I'm sorry.
No,
I apologize.
okay,
Because you know when we get somebody to chime in, we like to give them their due as well.
Oh, opening the door. So it's like, yes, I agree with you, but at the same time, it's like I like to think that I am an independent kind of person. So if I can open my door, why wouldn't I just open my door myself?
Okay, that's true to a degree because independency is a good factor. But in the matter of fact, I'm not going to say that friend name because I'm used to opening the door.
Yeah.
So you tell me don't open my door, Daddy, because I can open my door myself. And that's a good point that you bring up. So to me, I think it should be a balance with that.
Okay, that's fair. I agree with that.
I think it should be a balance. Now, I don't think if you feel that you're independent, you should open your own door. Okay, you had that right. But on the same token, as a gentleman, I feel your door should be open for you. That's showing respect, in my opinion. So that's how I feel about it. And again, with the independency, the liberation of people overall, I get it. Some norms should be changed. Some norm should remain the same. Like a particular norm, and I don't know if you've been, I didn't really watch the Oscars, but I heard a lot of chitter chat on the Oscar. Okay. This new thing. I don't know if you was gonna bring it up later in the segment, but while it's on my mind, I can bring it up because I'm thinking about it. Men dressing.
Can you elaborate?
Okay, on some of the feed, through via Facebook and via these networks, on how men are transforming into dressing more, quote unquote, more feminine, as it relates to wearing dresses or items that look like dresses. Did you watch the Oscars?
I didn't, but I saw some pictures.
Okay, so
or clips. And
so do you understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, how do you feel about that? Because we grew up in two different eras. Your era a little younger than mine. We grew up in two different eras. So let me get your take on it, and then I'm gonna get my spill on it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
Well, I think that fashion is a versatile type of thing. I think that.
So you want to come on this conversation? You know how to do that?
I don't.
How do we do that? You're more than welcome. I'm sorry. Go ahead for cutting you off.
No, but fashion is a very versatile type of thing. For instance, in Scotland, men wear kilts, yes,
right,
and that is their norm. They wear them for special occasions,
okay,
like weddings, etc. And they don't. Great. When you figure it out, please let us know.
And you're more than welcome to come on,
to
Lee, because you know you're my baby, young lady. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And so, like that, they don't think twice about putting on their kilt. That's what it is. Like,
right.
Men don't. That's just
because that's the norm of their society.
So, I don't know. I have like mixed thoughts about it. I think like in the new generation as a whole, I think. And me personally, that you should be able to wear like what it is that you want to wear. Like women wear pants or suits, and no one thinks twice about them wearing a suit. But the second that a man wears a dress or a skirt, it's an issue.
Okay.
An issue kind of thing.
Right.
It's something that, again, like that's why we're talking about. Like it's something that is brought to the attention of people, like breaking barriers. But my question is like, why is it? Is it because of social norms that even makes news for being a social like
issue,
right?
Per se, right? Well, that's a good thing. I mean, me personally, I grew up in the era where, in the United States of America, where I grew up, where men didn't wear skirts. Okay. Now, if I grew up over in Scotland, perhaps my mind, as you know, is all about the mindset. We talk about this on several shows, and my perspective may be different. Because I was introduced at a young age, per se, in Scotland, that wearing a kilt is the thing to do. Is a traditional, or is not as considered feminine thing. Because you know some of them times the words roll out my mouth funny. So for me, I find it odd. I wouldn't put on a skirt.
Right, but because you wouldn't, does that mean everyone else should not?
I don't know, because I personally wouldn't put on a skirt as a male.
Right.
But if you're not hurting anybody, physically hurting anybody, or mentally hurting anybody, maybe that could be up for a deeper discussion or on a society norm. Because if you choose to wear this, how am I supposed to say, no, you shouldn't wear it? But me personally, I'm not wearing any tight clothes. I grew up in the era, and some of my norms might not be the best norms. However, I grew up in that men didn't wear a purse. Men didn't wear their clothes loose. That's another. It has nothing to do with the skirt. But we didn't have our clothes all baggy. It came a period where they tried to bring in baggy pants, baggy clothes and all. But Chet personally did not wear them. You know. Now, I might have wore some odd colors that I shouldn't have wore growing up because I thought it was a fashion thing. These shorts called James. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
I do not know.
Yeah, these colorful shorts. Well, I stopped wearing them because I felt that they wasn't me. However, getting back to your question, I don't know if I personally believe that you should be entitled to do what you want as long as it don't embark on anybody else's freedom, passions, nor hurting anyone for the most part. So wearing a skirt, I wouldn't suggest my son to wear a skirt as well. However, if he decided to wear a skirt, we would have to talk about that. We would. I'm just being honest, because then I would want to know, is the skirt leading to something else perhaps? And I don't know. I don't know if these clothes, wearing these dresses, gonna make a man feel more affectionate or more loved or more accepted. I don't know. But I do know that I'm not wearing no skirt. I'm sorry, or no kilt. And then if I go over in Scotland and I have to represent the tradition of them, perhaps, but while I'm in America, nah, Chet's not doing that, Sean. I mean, I'm not taking nobody that do decide to wear skirts, because as long as you're not hurting anybody, mentally or physically, then perhaps, hey, that might be a new norm. But me personally, I'm not wearing no purse. I'm not having a purse on. And no, I'm not wearing no skirt or no butterfly shirts that I see some of these gentlemen are wearing that was more acceptable for women to wear, especially in my era growing up. Mm-hmm. I grew up in the 80s, mid 80s, 80s. I was a 60 baby, but so maybe now it's becoming more acceptable. So how do you feel? Do you feel it's fine for a man to wear a skirt or clothes that are quote unquote society norms that fit women, but now men are bringing it over into their wardrobe? Do you feel that's a good thing? And
I don't think it's necessarily like a black or white type of thing. It's neither like good.
I didn't say black.
No,
or white.
I know, but it's like neither like a good or a bad type.
Oh,
of
okay,
thing, like
okay, that way.
Right.
Okay.
Like I said, I think that fashion in particular is a versatile type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that it doesn't necessarily have to be a male versus female type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But because society has deemed like XYZ is for females and ABC is for males. It's kind of, I don't know if it's a brainwashing type of thing or just a
that's an interesting segment. That's interesting. Mark that as a okay. Go ahead. We got to mark that as a segment. Go ahead.
But I don't know if it's necessarily like because at some point in time someone said that that's what it is,
Mm-hmm.
but that's what I think is like okay.
Okay, and then a collective group agreed
Correct,
with it,
right.
and then kept passing it down,
Right.
so forth and so
like,
on.
I am very much so, and I think that this has to do with me, like growing up as a dancer and being in the art realm. That's like it does. Like I don't necessarily care what people are wearing.
Right.
Like if it's
Okay.
not it goes back. If it's not personally affecting me and it's not doing any like harm to me,
Mhm.
then it shouldn't. Like it doesn't matter. Like what Tommy is wearing isn't going to have an impact in my day because I'm not wearing what Tommy's wearing. If
Right.
that makes Tommy happy, cool, then so be it. It's like, who am I to say that
Tommy shouldn't be happy
right.
if he decide to wear a dress.
Correct, and he can't wear, like, who am I to say that? When I'm wearing like pants or something like that are considered like
But do you think a selected group of people are trying to push a particular normality on society now as we progress forward?
Say it one more time.
Do you think a particular group,
Okay.
do you think they're trying to push a certain type of activity as it relates to certain things to make it a new norm or continue this normality so it will be socially accepted as time progresses?
I think it goes back, because we talk about this a lot.
Because media,
Yeah,
social media plays a factor in that, because some people thinking they're famous because they get a bunch of likes,
right.
or they're acceptably, or their words is to be the gospel because a million people are following and whatnot,
Right.
but they really had no content within themselves as character. So those norms, would you like to elaborate on that?
Well, I think it goes kind of like back to, and I mentioned this a lot, like the generation, or my generation, I believe, is a generation that tries to break a lot of barriers. So like for me, it's like I feel like I do question a lot of like, is this actually a norm, or is it just, again, is it something that I think or feel because someone previously has said like that's okay.
Okay.
But that's just me personally. I question a lot of things all the time. So I don't know if like other people think that
Right.
too, or if it's just like, well, Shy, you just think entirely too much about everything and it's never that deep.
Mm-hmm. Okay, no, I'm just saying, Lee, for some odd reason, you got to figure out how to get you on, babe, because you're more than welcome to come on Chet Chats anytime. And anybody else that want to share their experiences and so forth with us, they're more than welcome. Hey, Tiffany, I like your tennis shoes. I'm sorry, Sean, that's a side, but I'll forgive me, y'all. I just go off on any matter. So getting back to the topic at hand, so do you believe that a group or groups of people are trying to push certain agendas as it relates to the fashion industry? To sell more clothes, to sell more products?
I mean, there's possibilities. I mean, I think so, maybe. I'm not really sure. I think that fashion is an art in itself, and so when
Mhm.
someone has an idea for something,
Mhm.
yeah, they try to push it so that it becomes
The
something bigger
so bigger,
Right.
so it can then potentially bring in more economics to
Right, yeah.
whoever bringing this out. Okay, I'm just wondering, because for me, again, as we said earlier in the second, I'm not wearing no skirt or no dresses or anything. Now, again, like I said, if I had to go into their culture and that is the cultural thing, perhaps I may put this on. But by me growing up in United States of America, I was taught not to wear no damn skirt. So I'm not putting one on.
Do you think that social norms, I mean, going kind of on the topic,
Mhm.
span across a geographical location? Like, are they worldwide social norms, or are they particular to the place that you're in?
Well, Sean, I can't speak for it's 193 countries in the world,
what do you
but I
think,
haven't been to
though?
all of them, so I can't really
It's
speak
just like a
globally yet because the show hasn't picked up globally. So could you bring it down? Could you bring it down just a little bit? I know I taught y'all to think
well, I mean, okay.
enormous, but could you bring it down some?
Well, you have been out of the country, yes.
I have been out several places.
Okay,
Exactly.
so from the places that you have been, do you think that social norms are specific to a location, or are they worldwide, I guess? I
think some social norms are particularly set for that country or area.
So then, are they considered social norms, or would they not be classified as social norms, but just like norms?
Society norms. I think certain norms are, and again, some of the places I was going, I wasn't worrying about their social norms. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. So I was there to, Anyway, people, getting back. Please feel free to chime in because I think we should do a part 2 on this particular segment because it's very, maybe we narrow it down to social norms that we like or dislike because in certain societies, eating certain animals is cool. And then in other societies, they worship those animals and you shouldn't eat them. So, and I'm going off the topic.
Well, I think that would be a norm, not like a...
Right, so I'm trying to answer your question are all these norms in every society or they're the same or they vary in particular society? That's what you're asking, right? And for me, I think certain norms vary depending on what society that you're in. In my opinion.
Yeah.
That's not fact because, again, some of them places I was going to, I wasn't asking certain questions.
Okay.
So was it socially accepted or not? But I would, but certain things, being polite, I think that should be a norm, no matter where you are. I think having manners should be a norm, no matter where you are. I think being kind and considerate should be norms, no matter what language you speak or what country or continent you're on or come from. That's my personal belief. So now, are some of the basic norms in place? When you say hello, some people might not greet you back. But I was taught to say hello back. So those type of norms, I think, should stay in the play. Politeness, courtesy, and having character about yourself. I think that's a big norm that should stay in place. I don't, so that's just my personal opinion. How do you feel about that?
I agree. I think that I think that's like character then. I think that there are types of norms that, yes, everyone should be held accountable for, going back to accountability.
Okay, so you know how they all intertwine though.
So yeah, I mean, I do think that courtesy is definitely something that should be a norm, as well as being like well-mannered should be a norm. However, I don't necessarily think it's a norm that most people follow, or I wouldn't say most people. I'd say that there are some people who are like more well-mannered than others.
Right.
And so I don't necessarily know if that's because like having manners is not a norm that they believe should be a thing, or if it comes to time where it's like, well, entitlement is playing a factor in that too. I think there are a lot of layers to. Honestly, I probably feel like there are a lot of layers to the questions that I ask. So
absolutely, because we're on a short time frame, and people, please feel free to chime in anytime, give us your input, because my daughter picks topics that day of I'm coming on live, and some of her topics, in my opinion, we're not truly covering to the extent that it need to be covered. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, yes, because my questions are very large.
Right. You don't ask a little small question to me most of the time. You ask a humongous question, and then we're trying to fit it in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
So I think you should jot this down. We need to revisit social norms. Anybody feel free to chime in, as we stated earlier. Give us your intake. What norms are accepted? What norms should be deleted? Because certain norms may not be acceptable as time progresses as needed.
Yeah.
So maybe that might be another topic that we can discuss. I mean, due to time restrictions, any last remarks before we close out? Thank you, Lee, for chiming in on it. Thank y'all for all that have watched the broadcast that didn't say anything. We appreciate it. And we know where we're trying to go with this show as it relates to chats. And the more people we get involved, the more dialogue that we can interact with one another. So I'm trying to speak Spanish both, so sometimes my words get confused. Any closing remarks, young lady?
As always, thank you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate all your support and love. Please keep sharing the page so we can get more people onto our segments, etc. And we will see you guys in March.
Absolutely. Peace.